First conversation of the afternoon. The Africa Netpreneur Prize Initiative is Jack Ma's flagship program on the continent through the Jack Ma Foundation. The program seeks to support African entrepreneurs from across the continent, and they aim to award 10 entrepreneurs every year with $1 million grant over the next 10 years through an annual pitch competition. Now, the 2019 call for applications opened on 27th March, and they will close on 30th June 2019. So joining me in studio is Sam Gishuru, the NILAB CEO and founder, to talk a little bit further about that as well as more. Thank you, Sam, for making time for us.
Thank you for the invitation.
So before we get into the conversation about this grant and how people can really tap into it and how we can boost the technological space within Kenya, speaking of technology, social media is something that spans across all our lives. Some of us would say we're addicted to it, and especially Kenyans on Twitter. We're very excited to know that you are coming on the show. I think it all spans back to this thread that you had about paying interns or not paying interns and how they can maximize on the opportunity. And I like to be thorough, so I went back, I made sure I knew it, and it was on the 2nd of April. So, you talked a lot about why we should, why we shouldn't, what the interns should be doing. And one of the parts in the thread that really got people quite riled up was that, in the office, you find what needs you can fulfill beyond your internship. You can ask permission to bring daos and cakes to sell to staff members, and it will be okay. What happened after that?
Oh, I normally have very limited time. I have access to Twitter, so I try to limit it to an hour, especially during my full day, so like 25 minutes over lunchtime. So I was really surprised, 25 minutes. I mean, on my second slot during the day when I saw the outburst, I was quite amused as well. Let me just set the record straight. I pay interns. Actually, as a company in NILAB, we pay a minimum of 15,000 shillings to intern.
Okay.
And other than the one example that we gave over there, every other intern since we opened has been paid. And they have been absorbed into NILAB, or they have been absorbed into one of our startups, or they have started their own business. So we have a very high success rate of interns.
So you have no problem paying interns?
Absolutely,
that wasn't the spirit of the tweet?
Absolutely not. Most of our interns also travel with us. They'll go for us for meetings, like the meetings of Netpreneur Prize meetings, even with people like Jack. They will be there. They'll travel with us to Europe for meetings. They'll travel with us to China for meetings. They'll go with me on most of my meetings, actually. And so I'm very passionate about supporting young people when they join in. Let me just quick example. I mean, other than Derek, the example we gave, who used to sell sunguras, who asked for internship, and we already had an intern, so we didn't have a space slot for another intern. That's why I couldn't pay him. Okay. So he said, I don't want to be paid. I want to do this for free. I want to work with you.
So essentially, you're not telling interns, sell rabbits and mandazis to find your way through it and just forge through life.
But I'm so happy I included the mandazis and rabbits. First, mandazis are not healthy. I'm adding a lot of weight. But investing in yourself, when you start a company, you bootstrap. When you want to start a company, you bootstrap from your savings, from any other place. Starting your career as well, you can find ways to bootstrap with your side hustles. You should be able to do that. Okay. And so there are two comparisons. But I'll give you some stats about why this is very passionate in my heart. NILAB has a training program. And last year we trained 400 young people, 421, on how to either be employable, get a job, or start a job. So 20% go on to be entrepreneurs, and they join the second track, which is entrepreneurship training. So the first 3 months you all get trained together. The second 3 months you separate. So the 20% go to entrepreneurship, which is what you've seen, and 80% go to employability, which is looking for their first internship opportunity. So we have about 320 plus young people. Last year, we had already trained free of charge for 6 months, who we are looking to place for internships.
All right.
Now, by the time I was posting that thread, we had only placed around 60. By last month, we had already placed about 60. I thought it was 40, but it was 60 in paid internships.
So let me try and understand. The spirit behind your tweet was that sometimes there's opportunity that you can maximize on that is not necessarily monetary.
It is.
So it wasn't like, hey, it's okay if you're not paid. Of course, that's not
not true. I have interned in the last 1 year myself because I wanted to have a bit of a career change for free. So it's possible for anybody to intern at any time without getting paid. And it also, my numbers are of 320 minus 60, so you have about 250 plus people we're trying to place in internships. What's our challenge? Most SMEs can't afford them. And so we're telling them, hey, listen, if they can't afford you and you need this experience to get a job, find a way for those 3 months, because after those 3 months, your life changes.
But I understand, of course, majority do come from very difficult circumstances for them to sustain that sort of job without having an income from it, because you might have student loans, you've just graduated, you have other bills to pay. And this utopian idea that as soon as you graduate, you get a job, you'll be earning that big check, and then you find people are saying work, but we're not going to pay you. It's disheartening.
It's totally understand. A lot of the young people are actually from very poor families that will not be able to sustain these. And even as a company, we thought, how do we make that possible? How do we create structures so that we find ways of supporting them through that particular process? But as you said, it's difficult. It's something the government should intervene. I mean, I'm a private company. It's not my job to intervene. Even training 400 people as a private company is just our own initiative as NILAB to just get more people employed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not my job. I am not elected to be some shuru. I just wake up every day, try to change one life at a time. Okay. And so there's a government role for them to play to place these people in internship opportunities and give them jobs and give them hope. But as individuals, as yourself seated in Watarungai, Buruburu, Huruma, you need to ask yourself, the next 3 months, do I stay home? The next 3 months, what do I do to actually make sure my life changes?
All right.
And so, yes, I pay interns.
Okay.
And I have a lot of interns for small SMEs that want to absorb them.
All right, so we have made that as clear as we possibly could. Yes. But now let's move on to the actual crux of course, why we had you over, and that is the Africa Netpreneur Prize Initiative. So, there's a lot of money that they want to be able to give to these people to promote what they're doing. So how does it work?
So the Africa Netpreneur Prize is an initiative that was kicked off by Jack Ma when he visited Africa for the first time. It was his maiden trip was quite amazing for us. We managed to host him as an iLab with about 30, 40 entrepreneurs in the room. And initially, before he met the 40 entrepreneurs, he met about 10 in a small room. So we sat there for the first time, we met, we joked, we laughed, and talked about entrepreneurship. And the story goes, the next day he was very excited and very inspired by the young people he met at the iLab. And he said he's going to commit $10 million to fund entrepreneurship in Africa, philanthropy, not investment in the sense of venture capital, angel investment, just philanthropy. And so he made the announcement in Rwanda. Okay. And so I managed to follow up on that come January, couple of months in, we agreed on how to do it. And so we launched the Netpreneur Prize in August in South Africa. And then the prize was launched last month on the 27th. And it's a simple prize, $10 million, $1 million every year, $1 million shared among 10 entrepreneurs. Since the launch on 5th of March, we have over 5,000 applicants. A majority of the applicants, over 40%, are from West Africa, which is very interesting. Yes. The second biggest applicants are coming from Eastern Africa, the larger Eastern Africa, and then Southern Africa, Central Africa, and North Africa, which is pretty amazing. And so we're seeing a lot of good entrepreneurs applying. And at the end of this year, they will split a $1 million check. The 10 finalists will also pitch to Jack Ma himself and his guests. And Jack will have a chance to interact with them. Okay. And then we'll do a post follow-up to make sure that they grow their businesses as NILAB. All right. And just to break it down a little bit further, what kind of entrepreneurs are we looking for? We are looking for grassroots entrepreneurs. People who you could be doing anything. You could be selling those ndaos. And funny enough, NILAB spends, because now is a funny conversation, NILAB spends up to about 50,000 shillings a month buying mandazis. You know why? Because we have training and we provide lunch to these entrepreneurs, we provide bitings to these entrepreneurs 10 o'clock. So you're merging all the interests that you have talked about on Twitter. Exactly. I mean, like this 50,000 we pay for this, for catering services on bitings at 10 o'clock every day, every month, sorry. So it is lucrative. It is very lucrative. So if you're doing a small business like that, or you're doing a business like a barbershop, or you're doing a salon, or you're doing a garage, all the traditional businesses, you should apply. This is not a tech-only prize. So deadline, June? Deadline is June 1st. All right. So, and they just have to go on to the website? June 1st or June 30th, I believe. June 30th. So yes, they have to go to their website, netpreneur.africa, apply. Based on the questions and how you answer them, you may be required to do more things. So the earlier you apply, the better. From the last couple of weeks, what I've seen, an application takes about a week. So for those people who wait until 28th of June, they will definitely have a really hard time. All right. So start early. Start early, yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Sam, for being with us and for speaking to us this afternoon, clarifying a lot, and of course also illuminating us on these opportunities. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, well, that was Sam Gishuru, the NILAB CEO and founder. And from that conversation, I will be having another one. But before that, I want to remind you of our Twitter poll question this afternoon.